What is happening? And welcome to another four-wheel drive talk episode. Now, friend, I want you to imagine it's winter. It's snowing, and you're in the mountains for some cold weather camping. Now, I also want you to imagine that it's frigid outside. It's cold, and you're inside the tent, toasty as all heck, sipping some nice bourbon and eating a big-ass chunk of meat. Now, how do you make this happen? Well, I'll tell you how you make this happen. You get yourself a badass all-season tent or a winter tent. That is what you do. And now, as many of you, if you've been watching this channel for a little while, you know that I've been utilizing these Russian Bear tents for some time. I just did a 1 year, I think it was a 1 year review of the Russian Bear Up 5 tent not too long ago. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the other Russian Bear tent that I have, which is the Pentagon. Now, I've had this for it's been 7 months. So I figured it was time to do a review. Now, as you guys know, when I do reviews, what I like to do is I like to really put some extensive testing underneath my belt before launching into a review. That way I can share with you my firsthand experience and offer some real-world pros and cons about the items that I test. So that's what we're going to be doing today is for this tent, now that I've had a chance to really put it through its paces in some really chilly weather. But first, before we dive into all this good stuff, look, we put these videos together to help you make more informed decisions. And so if we're successful with that and you find some value with this video, friend, if you could do me a favor, crush that like button down below. It really does help with the whole YouTube algorithm. That said, my friend, pull up a seat in. Let's go. Now, as usual, I'd like to start off the 6-month review by doing kind of a broad overview of this tent specs and features. Now, while also what you're going to notice here is I really wanted to give you a sense of what it's like to put this thing together. So as I'm jibber-jabbering here, I'm going to play. The last time I went out with this, I actually set up the camera to record the entire process of setting this tent up. So you're going to see me jibber-jabbering around. I'm not moving terribly fast, so I didn't want to break any land speed records. I wanted to kind of casually approach putting this tent together, so therefore you can get a sense of what it's like putting this on. Now, also, I'm going to include, because one of the items that I'm going to be talking about, because this is a all-season tent. Now, since I've had my Up 5, which is the other Russian Bear tent that I have, I've had their wood-burning stove, and while I don't use it all the time, you may be interested in it. So as soon as I finish playing the setting this thing up portion of the video, you're going to see me jumping into actually setting up the wood burning stove inside this. And again, I'm playing both of these at real time. I'm not speeding them up. I want you to really get a sense of what it's like putting these things together. So you can see me walking around, putting things up and all that other fun stuff. Then on the burning, or when I'm setting up the wood burning stove, on the right hand side of the screen, I'm just pausing, thinking how I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a video, because I think I'm going to be running out of length of this video here, so I'm going to have a picture-in-picture, so you'll be able to see me putting the wood stove together, and then the right side of the screen, you're going to see me taking down the tent. So that's going to be 2 birds, 1 stone. My friends, you're going to want to buckle in. There's a lot of information and a lot of details you're not going to want to miss. So let's get on with it. So it's 138 inches in length, 83 inches tall. So it's smaller than the Russian Bear Up 5 that I've been reviewing for the past year and a half or so, which is incidentally 178 inches wide and 87 inches tall. Now this weighs over 77 pounds, so it isn't exactly a lightweight tent, but it is very easy to set up for yourself. Now there are also 4 triangle windows, each of which have 5 layers thick. Now there's also a ventilation window to keep the air inside the tent fresh. Now there's 2 entrances, which is great, especially if you're camping with multiple people for easy in and out. Now, the tent has 2-layer walls to improve insulation value, and also the big win here is to help control condensation inside the tent. The layers are waterproof. Oxford 300 PU 4000 material is on the outside, and the inner lining is Oxford 210 PU 2000. The inner layer of the tent has water repelling applied to it, and all the stitches are glued. Now, this also helps waterproofing the tent even further. The tent frame is made of strong yet lightweight aviation aluminum alloy, which can withstand light snow loads and strong winds, which is a Big plus. Now you also get a optional wood stove to heat the tent in coldest temperatures. Comfortable sleeping between 3 to 5 people. Yet you can, look, if you're in a pinch, you can fit up to 7 people inside this thing. Almost 90 square feet. So this is really a great sized tent for having room for sleeping, eating, and lounging. Now, the price of this thing is currently $1,859. Now, let's get into more detail about some of the features. That way, you can get a kind of a drilled down view of what this tent has to offer. First of all, though this isn't as big as my Up 5 tent, it's still a really nice sized tent. So if you're medium height, you're going to be able to stand up straight pretty much anywhere inside this tent. Plus, as I mentioned a moment ago, it's about 90 square feet. So there's room for everyone to sleep, eat, lounge in. That's really big plus in case the weather's all nasty outside. Now, the windows in this tent are a triangle shaped and are positioned at the top of the tent walls. Now, this is going to give you an unobstructed view of the outside. The windows are nice and big as well, about 1/4 of the wall space, and include an external awning, mosquito net, and internal awning. Now, as for the doors, they've got a 3-layer construction that includes the same outer awning, mosquito net, and inner awning as the windows. Now, there are also heavy-duty zippers on the doors and windows to ensure durability and proper operation, even in the harshest conditions. Now, of course, since this tent was designed for the coldest climates, there's a wood stove option that will keep you toasty warm. The aforementioned ventilation window, which is right behind the stove, will continually draw fresh air into the tent. Now, a great option you can add to the tent is a detachable waterproof floor. Now, not everyone is going to need this option, but if you plan to camp in locations that get a lot of snow in the winter, man, it's not a bad idea. The floor will help insulate the tent even more. Plus, you get the benefit of being detachable for trips that you really don't need it. I like to use it all the time because if you're in a lot of camping spots and so forth, the ground could have rocks, uneven, sharp objects. You put this down as a base and it makes it a little more comfortable even to go just walking around in your bare feet inside the tent. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can get a wood stove for the tent to keep you warm even when the temperatures outside are very cold. Now, the stove has a protective metal shields on it to protect you from burns, while the stovepipe hole in the roof is made of heat-resistant material. Now, this is going to help protect against unwanted roof fire. In other words, the heating system is extremely well thought out to maximize your ability to stay warm and, of course, to keep you safe. All right, we're going to take a little detour here, saying that we're talking about heating the tent, because I think this is important to clarify. I'm sharing with you how I go about it myself. Now, when I go camping, I love having a real fire. There's something therapeutic and just calming about a fire while you're camping. But inside the tent, it's not my first choice in terms of from a heat standpoint, because as I've mentioned during this video a couple times, for me, I have a tough time regulating the amount of air I'm allowing into this, so the size of the flame, and without the thing being like 1,000 degrees inside the tent. So my first choice of how I heat these tents is with a planar diesel heater. Now, a couple months ago, there's a couple videos that I pushed out talking about these things. In my turtleback, I have a 2 kilowatt diesel heater that's permanently mounted in the nose. For the tent, I have their 4 kilowatt. Now, again, you can get it in 2 sizes, either 2 kilowatt or a 4 kilowatt. Planar diesel heaters are up in Canada. These guys really, when it comes to diesel heaters, there's 2 manufacturers that really crush it out of the park. And from my experience, I think the planar diesel heaters do it the best. These are quiet, and these guys really do a great job. I love the portable one. And that's what I use with the tents, because it comes in this pelican yellow case. You can't miss it. Now, a couple things with this. This will burn diesel fuel as well as high quality kerosene, like K1 kerosene. You don't want to use any of the kerosene alternatives. Believe me, I'm telling you from experience, it doesn't work well with the 4 kilowatt. But you also want to have a solid 12 volt. You want to have a solid battery connection with the diesel heater. Now, if you've not watched any of my previous videos talking about setting one of these diesel heaters up, there's just as important as having the right fuel is having a good electrical connection. You want to make sure that it's connected to a place where nobody's going to be stepping over, accidentally unplugging it, shutting it off while the thing is running, because if you do, you can actually damage your diesel heater. But the reason why I prefer diesel heaters over some of the other options out there, Propane is out of the question because you get a bunch of condensation. I'm referring to like buddy heaters inside. You get a lot of condensation inside the tent, which I don't like that. And so going back to the diesel heaters here, it's great because you put this thing out, you fill the thing up. It's going to last me the entire weekend of camping. On top of that, you run the heat pipe inside, which is dry heat, which is fantastic. But best of all, it's super quiet, and you have two different type of thermostats with planar heaters. You have a digital, which is what I use inside my Turtleback. And that one, you have a little bit more control over the setting. So if you want to set it at 68 degrees, 65, 60, 70, whatever you want, the heater is going to keep the tent at whatever temperature that you set it. Whereas the analog remote or the thermostat, which again, either way, you're running this cord inside the tent, is more of an analog. It's just a knob that you turn and you crank it up, the level of heat, the density of the heat, how warm you want it inside the tent. And so either way, it stays warm inside the tent, whatever you set it at. And when you're out, this is the funny thing. I get asked, well, Alex, isn't that glamping? Yeah, but you know what? A couple videos ago, I was talking about when you go out camping, the more, at least for me, what I want to get out of it, when it comes to the heat or temperature, these are areas that I'm more sensitive about. And so I want to be able to get out there and relax. I want the entire tent to be warm where I can get around, walk around, bare feet. And so anyways, that's my 2 cents. I use the diesel heaters as my primary heat. So at this particular event, the Up 5 tent had my brother-in-law, and that had the 4 kilowatt diesel heater. Whereas my other buddy that was using the Pentagon tent here was using the fireplace inside. And so anyways, food for thought. So with that said, how did this tent work out for me in my recent cold weather trips? Now, a couple weeks ago, or actually about a month and a half ago, I went up to Big Bear with a buddy of mine, actually with a few folks, to do some cold weather camping, which was a ton of fun. Now, it got down about 18 degrees one night, yet the tent stayed toasty and warm. In fact, at one point, the tent was 96 degrees inside. Now, obviously, that was a little bit too warm. Now, I've found that I struggle a little bit to regulate the temperature on the stove. Now, this is also something I've experienced with my my other Russian Bear tent, the Up 5. Now, guys, this isn't a flaw with the stove or the tent, but rather a problem with me needing to figure out how big of a fire I need the tent or in the tent to keep it comfortable without turning it into a sweat lodge. Now, I'll say this, in the fall, spring, when it's chilly, but not cold enough for a fire in the stove, this tent stays incredibly warm. Now, as I mentioned in my previous video about camping in hot weather, the exterior of the tent is a warmth vacuum. I mean, it really sucks up the heat. Well, that's not something that you want in the summer. It definitely is a big bonus in the winter. So from a warmth standpoint, this thing is absolutely a beast. In fact, my last trip without a fire going during the day, the tent was maintained a temperature about 82 degrees, even though it was 31 degrees outside. That exterior really works in your favor. These tents they shine bright in the winter. Now, as you've seen in the video so far, this tent is also super easy to set up and take down. Now, even though this is a big tent, guys, it's not difficult or cumbersome to put together. Just in a matter of a few minutes of work, and you've got the tent up, ready to go. And when your trip is done, it's just another few minutes to take this thing down and pack it up. Now, when you're cold weather camping, the ease of setup and the speed of setup are definitely big bonuses. Now, with snow falling and the wind blowing, the last thing that you want is spend 45 minutes putting up a damn tent. And while it wasn't blizzard conditions on my last trip, it was still nice to be able to set this thing up and quickly get inside. Now, after using this tent for about 6 months in various types of weather, I've found there to be lots of things that this tent really does well. The construction of this is bar none, phenomenal. The design of the tent, now like the 5-layer windows having 2 doors and 2-layer walls, really makes it a comfortable and efficient tent no matter the weather. The size of this tent is fantastic. So if you have a family or you just like to have a little room to move around, the size of this thing is perfect. Now, there are also some well thought out elements like hinges on the side so you can hang up your wet clothes to get them dry, ventilation window to help suck the fresh air in for the stove, and the heavy-duty zippers to keep the doors and windows operational even if there's frost or snow on the tent. And, look, as I mentioned before a couple times here, easy to set up and take down. That's the 900-pound gorilla about this thing. That's just the big pro. Now, in terms of things that I don't like about this tent, the only thing, guys, that I can think of is my inability to keep the tent at a comfortable temperature. Again, as I said before, this is an issue with me, not with the tent. So I'm not sure it's fair to really label this as a con for the tent. Let's just say it's the only difficulty that comes to mind. Now, with that said, I think this is a fantastic option for folks like me that really enjoy cold weather camping, but while you really certainly can use this tent year-round and be comfortable, in my experience, where it really shines is when the temperatures drop. Now, as I mentioned earlier as well, when the temperatures drop, the fireplace is nice, but I see myself using that more as a cooking tool inside the tent. For me, I'm glued on these Planner diesel heaters. The 4 kilowatt portable diesel heater. Look, you can bring inside the thermostat, set it to 70, 65, whatever temperature you find most comfortable, and just leave it alone. And you can throughout the night, you don't have to worry about refilling the fire in the middle of the night just to keep the tent warm. The diesel heater, in my opinion, is the way to go with these things. And in case you missed, I did a video. Now I'm getting off topic a little bit here, but seeing that we're talking about heat, 2 months ago, I did a video on these Planner diesel heaters, and particularly the portable one. I'm going to put a link down below. If you've not seen that, I would definitely encourage you to go watch that. In that video, I break down, it was a 6-month review on the portable unit. And guys, man, this thing is a rock star. Like anything else, when you have the proper gear, that's going to only elevate the fun in getting out there. And if you don't have to worry about heat inside the tent, I know that's very glamping, but man, if it's cold, you have wet socks and this and that, and you'd be able to come inside a nice toasty dry heat tent. Yeah, that is a big win. Now, if you're interested in getting one of these bad boys for yourself, check out the description below for a link to the Russian Bear website. All right, folks, with this 6-month review of this Russian Bear Pentagon tent in the books, it's time to end this video and discuss our current giveaway. Now, we have the following 3 prizes up for the grabs. We have a Camp Moon camping folding chair, we have a Powerlix sleeping bag, and of course, the $100 Adorama gift card. As always, entering the giveaway is really simple. Step 1, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Step 2, leave a comment below. In fact, the more of our videos that you watch and leave a comment on, friend, the more chance that you have to win. So get watching some of our other videos and leave some comments. Step 3, register on 4-Wheel Drive Talk and introduce yourself in the forum. Now, if you happen to register on the site during one of the last giveaways, you're still eligible to win, but as I keep saying over and over again, swinging by, say hello, share with us what's new with you, and friend, that is it. For complete details on the giveaway, including how to register on the site or how to say hello in the forum, check out the description below. Good luck. Well, there you go, friends. This was, as always, it's such a treat to get in front of you guys and share these little experiences or products or things that I recommend or don't recommend. In this particular case, this is one of those products, look, I've been using these tents for the last, so I got the Up 5. I think it's been almost 2 years between the Up 5 and so forth. But anyways, I love this. This is a great product in terms of all-season tent. These guys really do a great job, and they're easy to go up. So when I get out, I want to be able to get my living quarters set up in the shortest period of time that I can. In terms of tent camping, these tents really do it best in my opinion. Well, anyways, guys, it's that time of the video where I'm going to ask you to do all that YouTube stuff that is oh so valuable to the channel. So if you found some value with this video, hit that like button. If you're currently not subscribed, friend, what are you waiting for? We'd love to have you part of the family. And last but not least, crush that bell. Matter of fact, do it right now. Kick it, smash it. So therefore you're notified every single time that we come out with a video just like this one. And that's it. So I'm going to shut off these cameras. I'm going to get out of my studio. So you guys get out there, stay healthy, and find your adventure.